Hey, what's up? Welcome to my channel. It's my first video, so please don't hate, appreciate, and maybe after this you'll subscribe, like, and share. Um, I've gone through many ideas and decision making in regards to making a video. Like, oh, should I have a script? Should I not have a script? Then I started watching Geeks and Gamers, and then most of the time, Jeremy, he goes out on there thinking like just talking about the topics he wants to talk about. He has a general idea, but does he have a script? No, he wants to be genuine. And so, that kind of inspired me to just go on camera and just talk. And a lot of this is mostly just stemming from, not liking The Last Jedi. I didn't go see it in theaters. Just situations, uh, you know, circumstances led me to not be able to go see it in theater. Which, to be honest, I'm glad. I ended up watching it like online. To which I will not. That's all I would say about that. Um, and all of the frustrations with it was just like a lot of it was kind of boring. I mean, honestly. I mean, from start to finish. I mean, it looked neat. Visuals were kind of neat. Of course, it it's hard not to expect that anymore, especially with a large company like Disney, Lucasfilm, everything like that. But there was so much fundamentally wrong with it. I mean, the comedy was just bad. I mean, Poe Dameron, when he was talking to Hux, it was just ridiculous. And when Snoke slams Hux on the ground, it's like this. That's not even intimidating. That just looks ridiculous. Look like a spaz doing that. You know, that's like compared to Darth Vader choking every other dude that just disappointed him and killing him. And that's all good and well and whatever. But I mean, honestly, like the biggest things is like I know that a lot of people have a problem with is how they treated Luke, and he was, I'm only 20 something years old, and I grew up watching. My dad was a big Star Wars fan, sci-fi geek, and he loved that kind of stuff, and I grew up on that kind of thing. I'd watch all the Star Wars films. I've watched all of them, so many on repeat. I love the prequels. You know, everyone was hating. Everyone wants to hate, and there's a point in time where I was talking about the prequels, and I didn't like them a little bit for a while, but then I was just like, you know what? They're great movies. Especially Episode 3 is the best of them. I honestly think. I think it's up there with Empire Strikes Back. And some may disagree. That's cool, but I just don't know how you go from Luke, who did everything possible to try and get his father to turn back to the light, to willing to nearly kill his own nephew rather than try and guide him. I don't know what that was all about. That whole thing just like irritated me. Luke Skywalker was not Luke Skywalker at all. I keep thinking back, even in The Force Awakens, I as much as I enjoyed that, there were still some issues that I had with that. I think it bugged me how Rey was able to use the Force to grab the lightsaber instantaneously, where in Empire Strikes Back you have Luke hanging for dear life by some stupid Yeti or the Wampa, and he's just barely struggling just to pull the lightsaber out of the ice to get himself free. So for her to be able to just grab that willy-nilly is kind of annoying to me. And no, it's not because she's a woman. Okay? Nothing to do with it. And that's what bugs me too. And then in we're The Last Jedi, she's all instantaneously good, being able to take on trained guards along with Kylo Ren, which, you know, to be honest, maybe he's not the greatest fighter. He probably kind of left early in his training, and Snoke, I guess, kind of trained him. Whoever the heck Snoke is, who now is dead. Which, whatever. I mean, after the, you know, Force Awakens, I was wondering who this dude was and like why he always made himself so big in his projections. Was he this scrawny dude? Yes, he was. And some weird golden whatever the heck it was that he was wearing. Um, but I mean, honestly, like I really just didn't like the movie. Just purely, just a lot of it was just ridiculous. I kind of was thinking, you know, even in the prequels, like, I mean, George Lucas came under fire just because of like some of the Senate jargon and all the like, oh, war, no war, and that kind of thing, and you know that kind of happened, and so like to regardless of how people felt, a lot of fans felt like with kind of the political message in the prequels, they decided to even go even more heavy-handed, you know, with the whole anti-capitalism and the whole and then like, oh, slavery with kids is bad, and treating, you know, animal abuse is bad, and which is like I think most people can agree is bad, but to just go shove it in a film for 30 minutes, you know, like war profiteering capitalism and all that, just shove that in a film for 30 minutes and cut out a scene of Luke mourning his best friend's death. Seriously? Like, what is the logic behind that? I just, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the logic is behind that. I don't know what, I mean, there is none to me. I totally don't understand it. If you wanted to make some type of weird message, don't be so heavy handed with it. I kind of think, like, even in, like, the prequels, like, I never thought about the whole aspect of you looking at the clones and you can, you know, going off to fight the separatists in the end of the Clone War of Star Wars Clone Wars, where you know you see them all set off and take off to go do that. I never thought about that, the whole thing of way back when George Bush sent, you know, invaded Iraq or everything like that. And I never thought about that, and I was like, huh, that's kind of interesting. And I try to, you know, I try to keep myself politically neutral, you know, because it's just otherwise it's just it twists you up, and it's frustrating, and you can, I don't think no side's wrong, whatever. I mean, they're both wrong, and sometimes they're right, whatever. Um, but you know, where it's kind of like I like going to a movie, and then maybe someone mentions something to me, and go like, huh, that's really interesting. I didn't think about it that way before, and that's why I like being. That's what's fun about movies like that. You know, you don't think about watching when you watch the prequels about the whole the empire and everything, like being like the British Empire and the rebels being like American revolutionists or something like that, or or like even in Return of the Jedi, you don't think like the Ewoks being kind of like the Viet Cong, and the empire being taken down by a small army, which happened. And but when those comparisons are made, you're kind of like, oh, that's really interesting, and you can make that comparison with a lot of different things. But I like, I kind of think if I liken to anything is, the certain messages and or things or thoughts in the original trilogy or even in the prequels, kind of like a steady breeze with kind of a certain sweet smell with it, that kind of makes you go, oh, this is a nice breeze. Oh, what's that? Oh, I smell some, I don't know, lemon scent. And whereas like, especially with the Last Jedi, it's like, you get a good gust of wind with the perfume department. And I know I'm just rambling on. It's just mostly the movie was just so disappointing. I haven't even seen Solo. Like my cousin's trying to get me to see it, but like I will not go and support a company that's treating their fans like utter crap, and that's my choice, and I just don't want that. Um, but like, I don't know. I could go on and say what's wrong with the Last Jedi, but a lot of people have already said it. And I just didn't like it because essentially it ruined Luke Skywalker. It tainted it, and if you want to watch a good example of respecting older characters while introducing new characters, watch Cobra Kai. It does that almost perfectly. It shows that you can still have these older characters and not have them necessarily outshine the previous. I watched Cobra Kai, and you like, oh, you're interested to see where John Lawrence's character goes, and you kind of, and even Daniels, but at the same time, it introduces the new characters that you're kind of interested. What's going to happen with Miguel? Is it going to continue down this path of being kind of a douche, or what's going to happen? You kind of wonder about Johnny's kid. You kind of wonder about Robbie. You kind of wonder about Sam. You kind of want to know what's going to happen next, and you're kind of actually invested in these new characters. While at the same time you're appreciative that they've respected the older ones. You know, and it was a little bit tough at first with the Han Solo dying, but Harrison Ford wanted him to die in Empire Strikes Back, and he got his way, which is, it is what it is. You take what you get. Um, but all a lot of us just wanted was just to see our heroes on screen together just one more time, even if it was just for a few seconds. That's all we wanted, really. But no, you were so insecure about your characters that you decided to, let's just nerf them and or kill them off one by one, and not really give a crap, and essentially just say, you know what, oh my god, oh no, Luke is too powerful in the whatever, and we'll just, in the expanded universe, let's just tone him down because we don't have enough faith. Let's just destroy this character and make him not what he was, and make this turn him into this like bitter old hermit, and make him just so to make Rey look better. I'm like, all right, and regardless how you look at it, Rey is a Mary Sue. Let it go. Deal with it. Accept it. I I like to draw. I love drawing. And last thing I want, it sometimes it kind of irks me to like, let's say, I mean, drawing. Speaking of like artists, let's say you've got Leonardo da Vinci working on a painting, and he's spent years working on how to draw, painting and everything. He's got all those, and all of a sudden some turd out of nowhere is able to make just as good as painting out of the blue. Not even picked up a brush in his life. He's not some type of savant. He's just a regular Joe, instantly good at it, And it's like, that's kind of insulting, the fact that like you're so hard to do things. Like Luke trained, and he trained forever. We don't know how much time had gone on when he was on Dagobah, but we assumed that there was a certain amount of time that was going on. The Millennium Falcon didn't have its hyperdrive, so it could have taken him like a week to get to Bespin. I mean, I don't, I'm sure there's an actual expanded explanation, for that I probably never read. I've read enough stuff to know certain things, but you seem trained, and what would have been cool in The Last Jedi was like, in Empire Strikes Back, when he's trying to lift his X-wing out of the water. He kind of does it, but he can't. And he kind of just gives up. You want the impossible, and Yoda just straight up just does it. You know, and you know what would have been cool is if Luke does that with his X-wing finally. He wants to demonstrate the power of the Force. Maybe he has Rey try and do it. And if she can't do it, then maybe he does it. He just straight up lifts that thing like it's nothing. And you play the same music, give that same feeling. You know, maybe if you start out with Rey doing it, give Luke that almost same expression that Yoda had as when he was trying to do it. You know, and that would have been a cool scene. But, anything that's a good idea or actually a cool scene just didn't make it in The Last Jedi. And I'm at a point, like, when I first saw the Han Solo trailer, I was like, I'm not excited for this. I'm not hyped. I'm not excited whatsoever. I'm not excited for Episode 9. You can do whatever you want, but at this point, it's just been ruined. Maybe the next trilogy after that. And I really do, that Rian Johnson's not at all involved, because the guy is not the greatest writer whatsoever. I don't understand his logic. He's rude. He's obnoxious on Twitter all the time, calling everyone man babies. He's a man baby, like hiding and like, I'm just gonna block you, bully. It's like, get over it, dude. Take the criticism. Criticism now is so different than it was before. And a lot of people, and now it's like people can just block people and everything. And Joel Schumacher admitted that his Batman movies were horrible. The actors in that were like humble enough to admit that was bad. Heck, I'd rather watch Batman and Robin on a repeat for an hour, for a day, than watch The Last Jedi again. I mean, at least aside from Ivan Ortega's edit, which I am super excited for. Actually, that's actually made me more excited than I have been in a long time about Star Wars, or at least since the Last Jedi whole thing. But yeah, I think Admiral Hodo is a weird character. I don't understand. I've never been a fan of Laura Dern, to be totally honest. I thought her character in Jurassic Park was kind of weird too. I don't know. I've never been a super big fan of that actress anyway. But at the same time, I'm just kind of like, I don't, you want to. They're acting like now that there's no strong female characters, and it's like, have they not watched any media at all? Like, to kind of say that there's not enough characters or anything, or women haven't been represented enough or well enough at all. It's like, that's kind of insulting to a lot of female characters that have existed. You've got Ellen Ripley in Alien and Aliens, okay. That's kind of insulting to that character, is it not? Oh, let's just not forget, like, Judi Dench's character in the Bond films. There's a lot of characters, and I could just go on and on about the different female characters. Vasquez in Aliens. That, like, you're like, oh, this character's awesome, and you don't care. And one of the things is about Ripley, in the original script, they were all going to be dudes, and then during the rewrites, they're like, hey, what if we made Ripley a woman? What if we made the hero a woman? They're like, okay, let's do it, And so, and a lot of that was, so then that added to the fact of the character development came first, versus all this whole gender and identity nonsense, I don't care. I don't care if you're like a transgender potato. If your character's good, fine. Good. I don't know. That's about as all I can say, honestly. It's just everything's just ridiculous. Hodo just not telling anyone what was going on without any explanation whatsoever. I felt like, Poe was already scolded enough by Leia as it was. Rose Tico was just kind of a bland character to me, to be honest. Um, and the whole ridiculous scene, she's like, we don't defeat our enemy by destroying what we hate, but uh, was it by protecting what we love? What was he doing? One, he wasn't really any destroying anybody. He was just straight up sacrificing himself, being selfless by destroying a machine so that to buy his friends and or the rest of the rebellion or resistance time. And she's like, no, I'm going to crash, cause more instances to where now we have to kind of limp back and cause more chaos. And then she forces some type of kiss, and it's just like, okay, all right, whatever. I guess why not? But and the whole Leia Poppins thing was, you wanna make show Leia using the Force better. You know what would have made it better was not have the Mary Poppins thing. Have it where however they do it is get her back into the ship, and then during the whole thing with Poe on the bridge is have her use the Force and pull the gun out of his hand. Unless that did happen, no. And so it's like then that shows she has the Force, and it's a callback to Empire Strikes Back when Darth Vader did that to Han's blaster. But no, again, callbacks or anything like that's a good idea. It just doesn't make it into anything anymore. Um, Now you're at kind of at the end of everything, and I really think that it would have been smarter to just have a few years pass between Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Then that would have kind of just explained some things with Rey and her abilities and whatnot that maybe she's been training for like a year or something like that. That would have been smarter. It's like I didn't understand like, oh, the Resistance blows up their giant station with who knows how many troops on it, and all of a sudden they're able to like attack them willy nilly with like a giant dreadnought. Anyways, um, well, that's all I have to say. Thank you for being patient and listening to this rambling idiot. Um, I hope you enjoyed. Uh, Names on the profile, and I look forward to spending more time just talking about other stuff. You know, I don't want to just always talk about or complain about Star Wars, which is my first video, so it's not like I've been doing it forever. But I like other stuff, anime, Star Trek, anything. Let me know, what you think. Please like, share, subscribe. All right. Peace.